long nights call, chatting, and before long, I'm receiving flowers in the office, I'm being sent gifts, constant checkup, and it felt like this was it. This was what I had prayed for. But if you ask me today, this love of bombing, it was all alarming. Hi everyone, hi woman of God, praise Jesus. My name is Esther Wangeshi Keiru. I am from Kenya and I love Jesus as my personal savior. When you see me today, please just see a product of grace, a product of prayers, because it has been nothing short of God's grace when you see me smiling here. One Monday evening, during our weekly youth fellowship at church, my eyes happened to have locked with a guy who was being taken around the church by the church secretary as if they were checking on something. We looked at each other, glanced at each other for a second, smiled, and he proceeded with whatever he was doing, and I was back to what we were doing. A few days after, it must have been 2 days after, 3 days after, I received a Facebook request, and on checking, it was from the same guy whom my eyes had struck on like 3 days ago. And I accepted the friend request. He replied back and said, "Thank you for accepting my friend request, pretty." We started talking. You are pretty one here, and the dude got into a constant communication, long nights call, chatting, and before long, I'm receiving flowers in the office, I'm being sent gifts, constant checkup, and it felt like this was it. And especially what stood up for me, this was the first man, not even the first man, this was the first person who was giving me a bouquet of flowers in my entire life. This softened my heart. And you see, this painted a picture of a perfect man. This was what I had prayed for. But if you ask me today, this love of bombing, it was all alarming. Things were escalating fast. We get to meet. We are already in a relationship. Within a very short span of time, Mr. Man met my parents. And before long, during my 25th birthday, he went on his knees and proposed in front of my friends and my family members. I would see people look at me with admiration, and they would say, "Girl, this is it." And I was like, "Clock it! This is what I had always wanted in my life." Very fast, Mr. Man relocated from Nairobi to Mombasa. Personally, I was working in Mombasa. He wanted to be with his love, to spend time with her, to build a family together. But in my thought, I knew, or what I told myself, Esther, you'd support this man, you would grow together, build a family together, build wealth together. But then it didn't. It was not like something to me. So he moves in Mombasa, struggled to get a job for some time. Later, he got a job. And then with a few connections here and there of my mutual friends, he was able to get a stable job. What I didn't mention before we got to the relocating, I also traveled, because now Mr. Man was not from my country. He was from my neighboring country, Uganda. I had also gone home and met his family as well. So our family kinda loves each other now, because my family loves him. His family on the other side has welcomed me. So yeah, we were good to go. In 2020, we received our second-born child, a baby girl. But wait. Before our baby girl came in, our second-born, I come to realize that my husband had another family prior to having us, and he had other kids. And I'll tell you, women of God, this broke my heart in ways I'll never forget. I don't think since then I've ever been the same, because you were here, you trusted, and you thought that you were starting life afresh with someone who is also a fresher. But again, now you get to realize that all along, this marriage was founded on a wrong foundation. It was founded on lies. And what do? You just feel tired. But what is a man, or rather a woman, supposed to do? She's supposed to cover up her family, bring this together, and just make life run. But again, there's also this thing with the society. Like, men are like that. So just let it slide and life will continue. And so that is what I did. Maybe I would say I forgave. And life continued. And then what happens? We bring in our nephews from my sister-in-law, who was traveling to another country for work. And the boys needed someone to take care of them. And me being a mother, I welcomed them in my house. And now I am here trying to balance between my kids and these other children, and having them bled well without even feeling neglected or even feeling the gap. But something is also happening here as we are blending the thing and doing life. I get to realize I'm doing the raising of these children alone, because again, I'm not receiving any financial support, and I'm here alone with bills, food, and ensuring that these kids are well taken care of. And I feel the kids were well taken care of because themselves, they transitioned from calling me aunt to calling me mom. You just don't call anyone a mom. You call someone who has a way of nurturing, protecting, and just being there as a mother figure. So I'm there struggling, raising the kids, doing life, and I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm also feeling overwhelmed because apparently at my workplace, things are not as they used to be before. So there's shortage of cash. So I'm not able to supplement my family like I used to do. Also, I'm not able to be there for Mr. Man as he was used to. You know, when someone is used to, hey, babe, I'm stuck, kindly send me 2,000. The 2,000 are no longer there. And I start feeling neglected because I feel this man no longer see my use. So he's no longer even as caring as he used to be. And it's not like I'm feeling. It's happening. I can see it. The attention is no longer there. And I start to feel like I'm not enough. I'm useless. And I fell into debts because I'm trying to maintain a routine that I had kept in place. So what is happening? I'm drained emotionally. I'm drained financially. I'm having debts right, left, and center. I'm feeling neglected, and I don't know where to go. But also, the people around me, they can see that they are losing me now because I no longer recognize myself. I've forgotten myself. I've forgotten to groom myself. And all I look forward to is just to provide and paint a picture of a perfect woman, a perfect lady who is having it all together in her life. So I'm soaked in with doing life and trying to be a perfect mother, a perfect aunt. What I didn't mention earlier on, one of the child from my husband's previous relationship, came to live with us. So in total, I'm raising 5 kids, and I would say maybe alone, because I'm trying my best to make them feel they are having the best life. And I'm feeling I'm lost. I would share a glimpse of what is happening to my sister. And even from our talking, she would feel her sister was not okay. She would feel like she was losing me, or rather they were losing me. And my sister would tell me, Esther, you need to seek help. Even if it's not from a marriage perspective, yourself as a being, you need to seek help. And I would be like, in my head, I'm like, nah, I think therapy is for mentally unstable people. And I remember at some time, I'm now feeling broken completely, because there's a narrative going on. I'm not raising the kids now, my nephews, as they are supposed to be raised. Like I've been a bad woman to them. And God knows, I gave my all to just see these kids thrive. Now there's this other also girl, now who is my stepkids, whom I'm trying my level best to give the best. But she's also feeling her stepmother, maybe she's the reason as to why her mom and dad broke. She's also feeling I don't love her for whom she is, but because of the, having her dad in my life. And that's when my sister came to you, women of God, and she gave you my story from a point of she's broken, her sister is not ready to seek help. And I remember you all came together and you started praying about it. I recall Dr. Faith Mbua, now from our group, Women of God Ministry, calling me close to 2 hours. And she walked me through the journey of mental wellness, and being stable so that I can be able to function as a mother and deliver well as a person as well. We spoke for 2 hours. And for the very first time, I accepted that I needed help. She also went ahead to seek a number of therapists around Mombasa, and eventually we settled with one. For that, women of God, in this very group, this is where my healing journey began. Because as I started therapy, you were there mentioning my name in prayers. And not only mentioning my name in prayers, you came through and paid for my therapy sessions. And I started my healing journey. After a few therapy sessions, maybe like 3, I started tracing where it all went wrong. When I succumbed to manipulation, how I lost myself as Esther, and how I could no longer recognize myself. And I remember for the very first time I was able to stand for myself, and I said, no, you know what? I can't raise these other kids again. I need to have space for me and my children. And I also started creating boundaries, knowing when to say no, knowing when to say, no, this doesn't work for me. But you see, healing is a journey. So as I'm progressing with my therapy session, Dr. Faith Bua is checking on me every now and then to ensure that I'm attending my therapy session every Friday as I'm supposed to be. Joy is leading prayers and mentioning, just telling everyone to mention my name. And my sister would tell me, today we are really praying for you. Kindly join. And even if you'll not be able to say anything, just affirm and listen. And I would join and I would see and I would hear as you are praying for me. And to me, if you asked me, that to date stood out for me. You also contributed to my transport, because again, where my therapist was away from town. So you also catered for my transport. So I never had to feel overwhelmed with the cost of getting the help that I needed to get. And after I started, having clarity, I remember now I started talking to God. And I'm telling God, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I don't think this is the kind of life that I would love to live. Please, God, if it's your time, that it's time that I left all this and started afresh, show me a sign. And you see, sometimes we say like they are dangerous prayers, and God answered them. Because when I became persistent in asking God for the signs, now every day I started connecting a lot of things, a lot of things. And I remember one morning, I'm going to work and I'm seated in a matatu and I'm looking outside and all I'm telling God, today, please just give me a sign. I'm overwhelmed. Just give me a sign. You say when you know something is not working for you, but you don't have the courage. And I remember getting to work and after I settled, I picked my phone and left the office and secluded myself somewhere. And I picked my phone and I called the house help who had worked for last 3 years, and I had released her like 6 months prior to now me calling her. And what I had connected as I was healing, it was confirmed during that phone call. I remember I sat down and I was going, God, I asked you for a sign, but I didn't know the sign would break me this much. I'll tell you the pain that I felt. I wouldn't want any other lady to feel that pain. I told my mom, you know what, Mom? I've called so-and-so, and she has confirmed to me whatever was happening to that house. And I remember my mom just told me, I'm praying for you to get peace. She didn't tell me what to do. She didn't tell me anything. She just prayed for me. And then she sent one of my friends to come and check on me. So the sign was there that I was supposed to leave. But the pain was too much. At night, I wouldn't sleep. I would wake up at night, remove my dress, and I would lie down on the floor so that my heart would get in touch with the tiles and I would feel the cold, if it would numb the pain that I was feeling. But thank God, even as I'm feeling this pain, I'm still attending my session. So yes, I'm getting the truth. And the truth is, they say that the truth hurts. And indeed it hurts. But at the same time, there's something that is happening to my life. I'm getting healed. I'm getting clarity. And I'm clearly getting to see what I want in my life. Now, I'm at a point whereby I'm feeling it's time I left this toxic marriage. But again, in as much there are so many manipulation and narcissistic behaviors, I still don't have the courage to do it because I'm absorbed in the thoughts of what this man has been talking all along. Because he was very vocal on, if you ever have to leave, you don't get to go with my kids. And looking back, true to his, you never get to go with his kids because all his kids from the previous relationships were living with the mom in Uganda. So I'm afraid if this man gets to know that I'm leaving, he will make sure he make everything impossible, or he'll make sure I don't get to go with the kids so that he can use the kids as a leverage to have me, or better still to destabilize me. And as I'm absorbed in the, in the emotions of feeling afraid, I remember Ellie Joy, our group leader, getting to call me. And we talked for close to 3 hours. And I know how much how much time means over there. But she gave it to me. She gave me her time. God bless you, Joy, because were it not for that call, I'll still be in that place, tolerating all the things were happening. And not only doing that, I would be lost. I would totally be someone else. But after the talk with Joy, I was able now to sit down and plan how I was going to exit this. Because again, when you are dealing with someone who is used to being ahead of you in terms of thoughts and everything, you have to be very smart. So I sat down and got a plan on how I was going to live, when I was going to live, and how I was going to execute the plan. All along, I'm in the house pretending that everything is okay. Even after what I found out from the call that gave me this is a go-ahead to leave, I never got to ask anything. And it kept breaking my heart because I had to pretend all was good as I wait for the material day in order for me to go, or rather to leave. But I thank God on the material day, I was able to live with my kids, and I was able to get to my parents' house in Narumoru, all the way from Mombasa. Narumoru, it's in Nyeri County. I was able to get to my parents' house safe. Along the way, we even had an accident, but God is faithful. Because you see, the Bible says that the devil come to steal, to destroy, and to kill. And I feel the devil had already stolen me because I could no longer recognize myself. He had already destroyed me. And now what else was left apart from killing me? But God is faithful. I was able to escape alive. And now when I get to my parents' house, I leave my kids there for some time so that I can come back. Remember, I left with nothing apart from myself, my clothes, and my kids. So I have to resume work, strategize on how I'm going to rebuild again, get a house and all that. I thank God because as you people were praying for me, my family was supporting me, including my sister who is in this group, Faith Mudhoni. God bless you for me. God bless you, my dada. My family back at home, my parents and my other sister, they are holding me. Now, they are friends who stood with me, even when everything else never mattered. They knew me. They knew my truth. They knew my story. So one of my friends took me in. She hosted me up to the point I was able to get myself a house. There are other friends of me who kept on checking on me. Like one is also in this group. She is Nina Pesh. She kept on calling. She kept on, checking on how I was doing. But now again, there is now the phase whereby you've left, but now here you are with nothing but you and Jesus. And at this point, you are like, you don't know what to feel. Remember, I was used to a certain way of doing things. My mind had been programmed to a certain routine. Now, the routine is no longer there. You just have to do life. And it's like you are learning to do life again. You're like a baby. Because what you thought was love, it was manipulation. So again, you have to learn how to live with people. You have to learn how to reclaim your identity back. And then there's the point of the grieving part of it. And I don't think we ever get to talk of this enough. Because in the grieving phase, you lose yourself. You feel like you've lost your identity. You feel like you failed your parents. I mean, they raised you in a complete family. You feel like you've betrayed your children. You've denied them the privilege of being raised by both parents. And you also feel you also get lost in the way people now are seeing you, because again it gets out there, and it's very unfortunate again because women are the first people to judge. They will see you as a useless person because you could not hold yourself, you could not hold your family together. And then there's the narrative that your partner gets to push in order for you to appear as the villain in the story. And then there are the people who get to feel that men will always be like that, so we can't hold them accountable. It's always on a woman. But lucky enough, they're exceptional woman like you and you who sees that we can't afford to lose this woman, we can't afford to lose this lady, and you stand with her. The grieving face, it's messy, very messy. But also what happens in it, you get to experience God in a deeper level. And personally, I was taken from the altar. I used to serve God. And for a long time, I stopped even serving God. I stopped going to the church because the person I am with get to question even you are going to serve in the church. They will think you are getting to serve because you saw a handsome man in the church. But what happened in the grieving session period, I experienced God. Now I got to reconnect with God. And he kept reassuring me that all was not lost. He kept reassuring me of restoration. He kept assuring me that one day my story would matter. And I believe my story matters. It is my story. But in as other people would see me as the villain in my own story, I'm happy because this story gets to encourage you as the woman of God. Maybe there's a person who may be passing through the same thing, but they feel encouraged that they can also get out of that situation. And also, there's also the affirming of you women of God ministry, that whatever you are doing, it's not in vain. You are touching a life somewhere, you are saving a life somewhere, you are nurturing a life somewhere, and because you are there as one of the women in the Woman of God ministry, we will be able to make the world a better place. I started experiencing God coming through for me. I was able to get myself somewhere to call home for myself, and I was able to get a few essentials here and there. But again, when I thought this is it now, I got summoned in a very messy children custody case, but God was still faithful. And now at this point, God has hardened me. I think I've seen it all. And if not all, I'm at a place where by now my mind is able to take things, process them, and trust God to take me through. I thank God the court thing was through, and eventually the court settled, and we were able to get a proper plan of each of us being the kid's life without the other partner feeling like they are going to lose the kids. And I thank God because now I was able to have my kids in Mombasa, and God has been faithful to us. It's very hard getting to co-parent with the same person who took you through episodes, but still God is faithful. It is messy, but still God is faithful. Sometimes I don't know how to do it, but still God has been my teacher. God has been there. And then having a community that is always there to stand for me and to stand with me. But because of this ministry, I was able to get healing, to get strength, and to get the courage to move on and to start again. Woman of God, please never get weary of serving God and serving humanity. Because in soul doing, you are changing lives, you are restoring hope, and you are reminded the wounded hearts that there is still hope. Thank you. And to each and every one of us, and especially our vision bearers, be reminded that it's not in vain, and we are yet to experience what God is yet to do in your lives and in the life of the ministry that He gave in your heart and in your heart. May God bless you. May God bless each and every heart that serves. May God bless each and every heart that gives. And may God hearken to each and every prayer that is lifted from this group. Thank you to each and every one of us. Thank you for the Woman of God ministry. Thank you for being the light in my story. That is my story.